Hello, good evening, everybody. Today is Saturday, and I started my real spiritual living, reading a spiritual books only. So that the awakening stage of the inner awakening stage of the world is now happening. So let's be prepared for this real spiritual inner engineering quality and understand what life at its best is. The book written by Meher Baba, edited by Iwayne Deuce, a Gutenberg paper book publishers. So this has some more information about what the real spirituality is in a different way. What is the life at its best? So in this book, I would say it has some agenda contents, that is God and his attributes, the master and his role, the disciple and his attitudes, the self, ego, and bindings. So details about the self, ego, and bindings, the goal, self-realization and its attainment, how to attain the self-realization, which is in nowadays the people call as a God realization, inner awakening, inner engineering, several the spiritual buzzwords. So the source of the spirituality is one, and some dialogues that the spiritual people use are all just because of their inner quality that they maintain, and because they have authority to say something, but it is said to be no authority to say these are the words by me. So this is not like a words by me, it is like a words from God, from the ultimate source, the ancient goal, the absolute, which is called the goal. So we can read about how to attain the self-realization here. And there is another heading called General Messages to Mankind. And here Meher Baba and his activities also given up to 73, up to page around page around 73 pages, 73 to 75 pages. Okay. So very important here to understand the life at its best. Everyone now conscious, that is for sure. The whole universe is conscious. The people are conscious of reality. So the consciousness is one of the foundation for the spiritual understanding. The evolution of consciousness. I read sometimes in the God Speaks, where you will get more knowledge about the evolution of consciousness and the evolutions of the uh, freedom. Okay, evolutions of impressions, sanskara. We call that as sanskara. Okay, so let me set it up little bit high camera. Yeah, evolution of samskara. So that is another way of understanding the spirituality, the consciousness. What conscious we are in human consciousness. Okay, so there is some flashing light here. I don't know if it is going to. Okay, this is a little better, I think. They are giving natural. So the consciousness is one of the basic foundation for the real spirituality and also the God realization. It is also called self-realization. That is the ancient truth about the spirituality. Meher Baba has quoted a statement here. I'm going to read that for you and give you some context about that. He said, "He who knows everything displaces nothing. To each one I appear to be what he thinks I am." So this is the very impressive statement that only the incarnations can make the statements like this. So in general public, in people, the evolution of consciousness grows often and often, like they become conscious of the living, conscious of what they are doing, right? So in this case, you need to have a better understanding of the Vedanta, what is called in said in Srimad Bhagavatam, also says that you need to have a better understanding and fully knowledge of the Vedanta to present that to the people, that we have to have such a background. So anyway, if you have such a background, it is obvious that so not everybody has that level of understanding, that level of reaching to the spirituality. So here, some extent, even I am not, that high level, but I still have a lot of intensive experiences, or what is called extensive knowledge about the spirituality. That is, Meher Baba is pointing, he who knows everything displaces nothing is a very tough statement that nobody can, if they take that in a social life, this will become a selfish world, but people make that for their selfish um, upliftment, preparation for the life, right? So he knows everything. He who knows everything displaces nothing. So displaces means the whole universe is handled by the God, who is also called Paramatma. So in Vedantic, they call Paramatma. In Meher Baba world, it is said to be the oversoul. So we are all souls, and the destination is oversoul, which is Paramatma, Parat Parabrahma, Paramatma, Ya Yazdan, La ilaha illallah. The ancient scriptures, they have documented the ultimate goal of truth. So here it is all up to us how we take Meher Baba as. If you take Meher Baba as God, he is God to you. if you take God here, Meher Baba as an incarnation, he is incarnation. He also said his own sentence like, if you take me as a thief, I will be thief. Whatever, like, you can give his name because everything is created by the God himself. And the path of the God is to be understood only those who come across all the Vedantic literatures and the Puranas, consider any spiritual path. So, what one is understanding in today's life as the religious is not the spirituality. Religious is in the contemporary world, it is just for our sake, for living, so that we made our own religion. That is not true in this case. So, in this case, everyone is part of the spirituality. So, every human being. So, the path is again, we need to understand the evolution of consciousness, Paramatma, that is Oversoul, and the Atma, and that is what we call as a Jiva, Atma, that life. We have that soul consciousness in each of our life, but we are unaware, we are not knowledgeable enough to understand the soul part, even in this modern technology. In this modern world, so the technology can be easily understood by any people, and the technology is not just like anybody knows something. Hi, seeing activities. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. So the spirituality, because I'm discussing about the spirituality, what is called the life at its best. So the life at its best is purely based on the spirituality. So what we call in nowadays as the religion is our own sake. It is for our the worldly mundane desires. It is world, which is completely separate entity from pure spirituality. So the statement that Avatar Meher Baba made, he who knows everything displaces nothing, which is a very tough statement. Only those who have the path of the God realization, self-realization, or inner realization, they can make statement like that, but only incarnations can make this specific statement and that doesn't comparatively, when you look at some sort of doctors, engineers, philosophers, they're also doing the same thing, like they know many things but they don't do anything. That means, that doesn't mean that they're not helping people. So just like a sun, the sun is the light energy which is spread all over the universe. It is, I'm not saying that is only the earth. It has all the dimensions. If it is 360-degree, so it is all over the universe. Similarly, he don't do anything. Sun is just keep on producing heat and light. Similarly, in spiritual path, we come across all the Jesus, Rama, Krishna, Muhammad, right? So Zoroastrian, you have several powers that they handle the consciousness, and they have given transferred the authority to whoever to the next level of Goswami. In Srimad Bhagavatam says like Goswami, who is the perfect by birth, is God realized. Similarly, this only happens once in 700 years, as Meher Baba stated, or 1400 years. So the incarnation. Human is continuously innumerable births and deaths. Human have mortality where human born and die. Like it is completely one cycle, but the purity and the perfection and the ancient comes only after several births and deaths of that human consciousness. So that is, we will go very deeper understanding of the spirituality. That is why I have taken this initiative to, talk about the life at its best with Meher Baba's permission. Okay, so let us go one by topic by topic. It's not like it has a lot of things here. So also here, one statement I am going to read that is very beautifully quoted here. Life at its best, if understood, life is simply a jest. If misunderstood, life becomes a pest. Once overcome, life is ever at rest. For pilgrims of the path, life is a test. When relinquished through love, life is at its best. So that is the quote. When you look at the life, how come we realize the life at its best? So that is very simple sentences, simple language, but that has a whole story of spirituality. The whole story means the spirituality means the incarnation, the creation, and the path of the generator, operator, and destroyer. God is all that in one word as a God. Similarly, this statement is giving you more context to what is life to understand. What is there to life to understand? What is not understandable by common man? Just like common man, meaning it doesn't mean the working class people. Common man means one who is not conscious of truth. He's also become common man. One who may be religious, but he don't have understanding about the truth. He may be manifest or worship something which is believed to be truth, but normally that is not truth. That is just for your living, like to show off on the in this world, to show that I am belongs to this. My image, just like an identity. You have an identity by name, by color, by outlook, by demographic, like you have a male or female, or not a male or not a female. Any identity that is just like a religious background. But the spirituality is teach you what is the life at its best, to understand your inner pipeline, to clean the inner pipeline. So the inner pipeline is organized and managed by the soul, and managed by completely connected to the over soul, what is called Paramatma. Paramatma is, again, these are all the buzzwords, not to give any form for that, no form for that. All what I'm talking about, the inner sphere. Inner sphere don't have any forms like a human body, that is bodiless. So assume that bodiless is an iota, an atom. The simple, it is invisible to the complex microscope even, which is an atom. So our one cell, one atom of a sperm made this body. So the package itself has the entire thing, the life body. It has life. It has all the organisms which functions in our body, right? So these are all visible, but the invisible is the soul. Also, once it is said to be invisible, that means it has no form. Certain things that what in the spirituality to understand, those are the basic things. There is nothing just like a physical form. Even the Jesus come, even Krishna come, Lord Krishna, Lord Muhammad, Muhammad Paigambar, or any other incarnation, Buddha, right? So those are all only externally, they were acting like something, but in reality, they were all connected to the truth, absolute, what is called Shunya, or absolute, or ultimate goal, or it is also called God, but it is beyond state of God. So if you understand God, you are one step into the spirituality. If you understand the beyond stages of God, you are close to Paramatma, you are close to inner understanding, you are close to God realization. So this way, this life at its best is given statement is very, very useful for who understand the life. Doesn't matter you or a philosopher, doesn't matter you or a common man. Yeah, very, very, very good insight you have. What I'm reading on your message. What do you think is the key to a higher enlightenment to work on? Example, let's say I have the thought of wanting to connect with the family in heaven, the above stars. So, if there is no form for the soul, there is no body. If there is no body, there is no mind. So, mind in me and mind in everybody has some kind of memory. Okay, so that memory is present till our life is in our body. So the life itself is carries the memory, what is called our gross or mental or subtle body. We have all consciousness. Gross body means the below the navel, the prana, what is called the subtle body, and the mental body. All knowledge what we are externally or worldly knowledge that will be memorized here. But when you think of that, soul has no family. Family is in your mental sphere. It is only limited to our understanding. So once if you want to connect heaven, if there is heaven, if there is hell, those are all only for general people to make them, little awareness of that what is happening after your death. So if we think there is heaven, in my thought there is no heaven or there is no hell, because the ocean, if you consider ocean, right, ocean is the end of all rivers, right? All rivers, it doesn't mean if any long river, short river, any rainwater, all that diverted to ocean. In that ocean, it doesn't matter whether any water comes from any river, that is considered as ocean, and only it becomes salt water. There is no other thing, generally speaking. So where do you find your river? What tastes your river, right? That's a very impossible to differentiate the rivers and differentiate the taste of water, differentiate anything, that it is difficult. So You may not have that opportunity to meet your family in heaven or hell. There is no, that is doctrine of rebirth. When you call human, if the human have an ability to born again in the same body, right? So the mind is retained. If the mind is retained, it is some sort of, there is a saying here also in the spirituality. When the man dies, the soul, the consciousness of soul, and some extent of your memory is also carried, transformed to the next human form. So the memory, what if you think of that, you want to meet in your family members in the heaven. So what was your past family? If you remember your past life, there is an ability, chance that anybody can justify that you can meet your family members in the heaven. Put it that way, like let us think socially, normally, understanding the spirituality. Okay. So you have to be freed from this bondage. You have to disconnect that whatever you living here, live with happily, help others, don't steal others or rob others. Just you have to lose yourself to help others. That is totally my understanding. I believe all the stars are my family, including all the living beings on the earth too. Yeah, in certain literatures, they have explained these kinds of diversion, that deviation, because you need truth. We are not worried about the whole universe is created, right? The whole universe have we don't know even if we think this is the earth is the only human living planet. We don't know the other worlds. Maybe there are millions of other earths we haven't seen. We don't have access either. Even though we have satellite, we are 24/7, 365 days is watching in 365 degree all around, up and down, right? They're capturing data, but when you look at the stars or my family, so do you have any evidence saying like that? You cannot provide any evidence for that, generally speaking. So you think that is your past life as stars. So if in Bhagavad Gita also said that, if you do all good things in your life, yeah, true, all good things in your life, what happens? They said that, if you have another life, you will born with a higher superficial or a spiritual person, or you will get a very royal birth. I didn't even know remember the past, what I was and what I am going to be. So the body is one atom, iota. That is because of fusion between the sperm and zygote. It is also very minute. That itself has this package. We born before by birth. We don't even remember how I was a kid. I can't even imagine the play I did, how did I play it, how did I educate it, how did I these things. These are all, even though we are in this life, what we don't remember our basic life, it is hard to remember our past life. So only one can know that that's called God. He knows the past life and the future life and present life. All the three is united. That is why we called him as a God. So God is again one level. If you go beyond the stage, and that is also becomes a naturally spirituality. To understand, you need to have some sacrifices. Okay, so that is the life at its best, to make it easy. Don't complicate yourself by by uniting the universe, the externally, what is called as the worldly materials. You cannot associate your materials to our life. If my life have that bondages, so if we consider your sun star is one of your family member, so that means it has bondages. No, that is very unclear, because one body, one memory. Hmm? So if we take this in a very analytical manner, simple as that. So there is no past life, or there is no future life, or we don't have to worry. Simple thing as that. Don't worry about your past. Don't worry about your future. Worry about, even don't worry about the present, but live in present. Live by present. Today I am living. Today I have this life. So that is in my overall experience. I'm not an incarnation, but we have certain understanding to live the life. That is why the life is to be understood. Simply becomes just. If misunderstood, we have to associate all that. If you misunderstood life, I was a king. If you misunderstood, I will be going to be a king in the next life. Those are all just misunderstandings. Don't create yourself as a misunderstanding. So that I'm saying simple background of misunderstanding. It has innumerable misunderstandings, millions of misunderstanding for human being never understands the reality until he himself realizes what is and who am I and why I'm here, what is the purpose of this, right? So we are all pilgrims still, right, to understand the reality. So let us start the journey there. I will read one, what is called God and his attributes. It has several meanings behind what is, why, how do you call that God. Yeah, that is true. Thank you so much. All seeing activity, very, I see this is a very unique name. All seeing activity, your name, you can tell me your name, so that will be good. So here, now let us go with one topic today. Just I plan to give this topic very clearly about the God and his attributes. God is attributeless, however, right? God is formless, attributeless, nameless, fameless, or colorless. You can say that is no body at all, no mind at all. It is simply God. If mind, that means we make controversy, right? If I am God, so they create you as a God, and they make you as a guru, and they make you as a something else, and they make you as a separate entity like a God, and they make an idol of you, and finally they start puja, like making. In India it does happen, but generally speaking, right? So let's understand God and his attributes. God's divine business. Now there is a business for him. Like, he is the owner of this entire universe. He is the boss. We are all the servants, like just we are serving, just coming and going, coming and going. We may remember for 10 years, we may remember for 100 years, but finally one day we have to unite with it, right? So that is the God divine business. What is happening? God, the everlasting and indivisible, transacts his universal illusory business of duality by playing his dual role of opposites simultaneously and eternally. Saints are assets, God's assets, and sinners are his liabilities. See, all our business keywords coming here. Business means he mentioned that is the God's business. So in the God's business, there should be some assets and liabilities, right? So yeah, yeah. Oh, Arka. Thank you, Arka. Thank you for your feedback and understanding. Very, very insight, a very, very pure path. Like, what I'm reading nowadays. This is already I made 200 videos on Facebook Live for by reading the God Speaks, but that has a very tremendous subject in that. It has very insight knowledge in that. But still, we'll continue with that anyway. That this is today we are giving some glimpse of that God's. So here, if I talk the God's business, that means business have some keywords to maintain their assets and liabilities. So here, saints are God's assets. Very fixed word, like very pure words. Saints. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it said that saints, sages. They say sages in Srimad Bhagavatam. So sages like Sukadev Goswami, hmm, Prabhupada Goswami. Those are all, they were all following the same as is from the Gita, as is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. They were saying the same thing without any training. Similarly here, that is why they say saints are God's uh, assets, sinners are his liabilities. So we are all just, we are still in the first step. That means we have to understand realization. So that means we are becoming a liabilities. We have so many things to give. We have so many things to give up that God never gives. He will take something. Right? His plan is to take from you something. What is that? Is in general we say in Vedanta, what is called the Harishadvarga, what is called 6 characters, like Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madha, Matsarya. These 6 characters, that is all in your body. He want to take out. So liabilities means we are still giving something. We have to give something, right? Goes on eternally turning his liabilities into assets. So now liabilities to assets means that is again is a very need to work very hard. In any organization nowadays, their employees are liabilities, right? So they want to make them assets for the company. Like they want to make the employees providing good training, providing them a good benefits, providing them all sorts of freedom from the work area, from the area that they're taking off. So many things that behind the organization. So they have to work on like a God level understanding. So here the God business is similar to the organization handling. Like we want the assets to be liabilities into assets. So this is a very valuable point for anyone who want to realize the truth, who want to realize the ultimate goal, who want to realize the God, who want to realize the absolute truth. Okay, so that means the business itself is a beginning point, that God's divine business. So he have some assets, not only sages in my condition. When I look at, he has created the entire universe in a way that we have to feel that, right? We timely, he is providing air, timely it is coming water, timely coming heat, timely all that is happening. Doesn't matter or you live in America or do you live in any small country, a developing country, or any undeveloped country, wherever you live, but that is quite normal, right? He has so many assets other than sages. Sages provide us a beautiful knowledge, provide us all that insights, what to do, what not to do. People are misleaded some sort, like they have taken some words from the sages and they have misleaded themselves by only overlooking the people outlook. Okay, so the outlook only is the worldly, your what is called intentions that we have. I want this, I want to become that, like this, they misleaded themselves and they corrupted the whole humanity. So all that economical, social condition, all will be matters here. So the God means it is not only the worshipable, it is not only manifestation, it is not only keep his picture in my home and just do some prayer. That is not all the spirituality here. We cannot convert the liabilities to assets. The the formal what we have now, the condition. So we need to be socially understand reality and share the knowledge and understand why sages are sacrifice their life, that we sacrifice a lot of things to the sake of world, to the sake of humanity. Okay, so we don't want to become God, but we have to understand first God. We have to understand what is and where is and how is, like that. So divine business is already in place. Nobody can manipulate that iota. The package when we born, right, in the beginning of our life is nothing, is invisible. And this become by food, this body become big. The body is growing, right, still because of we are feeding since from the iota. Mother womb, right? The mother womb that is feeded food. Very simple. Who feeded? Mother feeded. Mother feeded. And again that food made our body to the certain level of baby and we've gone. We don't remember baby, right? So that is how the East, the very beginning is nothing and now we become something. So still we are we an asset or a liability? So here's the statement made is very only the souls who born perfect can make these statements, and we are still assets. Then we have to understand, digest, and then join the liabilities. Sorry, in the assets. So we have to very carefully ascertain these liabilities and assets. Okay. So there are many things. So let me end this live for this caption or God's divine business. Okay. So there are several God's attributes. Okay. So attributes in that what general human thinks is totally different from the spiritual angle. So the God's attributes are not ornaments, not color, not creed, not caste, not religion, not this form, not this name, not this color. Okay, he is completely nothing. So that is absolute. Absolute in the mathematics, it is very, very explicable, right? Absolute. So the when you look at the infinity, right? Infinite or infinity, which is endless, whereas the absolute has some value in zero. Zero means there is nothing. Still, there is no value, but there has some meaning for that. Without zero, nothing will happen. Even if you have right many things, that zero makes little bit higher. So zero is still nothing, but it becomes higher. So we will talk about the mathematical about that very closely, very in detail about that. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me and share your thoughts and sharing my thoughts, and you can share my video as well. So that way, give some likes, comments, hmm, all that are acceptable. I don't deny anything. I am open to everybody. So anybody can comment and then share your feedback. So we will come to the normal stage of human being, which is understood to the God level. Even the computer number begins with zero. Yeah, that is true. That is binary code, right? 0 and 1. Even though computer itself is an intelligent man, which he is now, they're making the God not to realize God, realize the computer. So every atom of that computer also, that is movement of this God. We can say with heartfully, we can say that God, He's handling everything. So everything handling my word, your thought. There's a controller, right? So He's again, I said God. Also, somebody said that maybe Shakespeare, I think, he said that God, generator, operator, and destroyer. It has all meaning, right? The God itself. And we are talking here beyond the God stage, beyond the God, beyond stage. We have only Earth. We know only Earth as a world. We don't know other worlds, right? So that we think the God world is another world. So we will talk and discuss the deeper understanding, friendly, very friendly. Okay. And thank you so much. I'm going to end today's live. So I will turn you back again, and so I'll come back tomorrow. It's the same time generally. So uh, till then, thank you. See you again. Yeah. Bye.